Okay, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Nahmaduhu wa nusalli ala rasulihil kareem. But busy with our Hidayah Shareef, the last we discussed was if a person with regard has a doubt with regards to the number of rakats he's read. So if it's something that happened for the first time, and in the Shara they say here, doesn't necessarily mean only for the first time, but it's something which happens really, really. Then because there's not much taklif in trouble in it's happening really, just break your salah and restart. And obviously this would refer more to a person maybe reading salat alone, or person like a lady reading salat at home. So really, very rarely if it happens that you forgot how many rakats you read, then just break your salah and restart and make properly. But if so, that is if it happens really. I told you an imam in a masjid, you don't have to break his salah because if you make a mistake, inshallah, if his congregation are wakey, they will correct him. They say subhanallah, whatever, they'll correct him, right? So if it happens, really break and restart. If it happens often, then you apply your mind. You apply your mind and see what does your predominant thought go towards, right? If your predominant, even if the predominant thought is more by 1%, like for example, just to understand this here, you're not sure whether you read 3 rakats or 4 rakats. So but you are 51% sure. You are 51% sure that it is 4 rakats. Then go with 4 rakats, right? So that was the second scenario. The third scenario was that you got no rujhan. You say 50-50. You are not sure at all, whether it is 3, whether it's 4, whether it's 1, whether it's 2. You are totally, your mind is not going to any. You are totally, you say, مذبذبين بين ذلك لا إله هؤلاء ولا إله هؤلاء. So then there's a term which is called بناء على الأقل. بناء على الأقل. Bina al-aqal is also a fiqh terminology that you'll see that when the ulama, the muftis, when they speak, they say, make bina al-aqal. Bina al-aqal means what you do is you build on the lesser. So say, simple example is this, you may be reading a 2 rakat salah, right? So now you're not sure, is this my second rakat or my third rakat, whatever. So you take it to be your second rakat. You understand what I'm saying? Now, when you make bina al-aqal, then you make tashahud after every rakat. Why? Because if you are wrong in your bina al-aqal, then your salah, and you made a tashahud, in case it's just the third rakat, or in case it's the fourth rakat. Simple example is this, look here, after your third rakat, you are not sure now whether this is my third rakat or fourth rakat, right? After your third rakat. So we'll say, make bina al-aqal. That means you're gonna take it as 3, which is the letter, but you're gonna make a sajda sahu there. Why are you gonna make a sajda sahu? That if it is the fourth rakat, if it is my fourth rakat, then after the fourth rakat, I'm supposed to do what? I'm supposed to make tashahud. You know what I'm saying? So if it was a fourth rakat, then you've got your tashahud. You got your final tashahud after that. You understand what I'm saying? So then the question comes about, okay, so it was your fourth rakat, you made your tashahud, and you stood up and you made another rakat. So then all you do is now, because you delayed what your salam, you say that will compensate. I hope that concept of bina al-aqal is quite. Just another one. You could apply the same thing to the first rakat, the second rakat, the fourth rakat, third rakat, and the fourth rakat. But just let's look at the example of one rakat. You're reading a 4 rakat salah, right? Now, after the first rakat, you're not sure now, is this my first rakat or is my second rakat, right? So we told you first, you apply your mind. If your mind says no, it's first, take first. Your mind says second, take second. Then if you made a mistake, no problem. You are forgiven because you applied your mind and you came similar to like this. I told you, like, the A'imma Mujtahideen. The A'imma Mujtahideen, when they make a mistake, they're not mukallaf. They won't be answerable to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because they've got the necessary tools. They applied their mind and they made a mistake, so they are forgiven. So here you are, so to say, you are like a mini mujtahid. with regards to your rakat, you're like a mini mujtahid. So if you made a mistake, it was actually, for example, it was your first rakat, but you thought it was your second rakat, right? And you made a mistake. So ultimately, you read one rakat less. You're not answerable for that because you done according to the best of your capacity what was correct. You done according to the best of your capacity what was correct. So you are not answerable for that. You are not answerable for that. So I'm saying, let's just look at an example of what, say you're reading your 4 rakat salah, right? So after the first rakat, you're not sure this is your second rakat or your third rakat. So we say make bina. So you're not sure. You got no rujhan. You got no line. Your mind is not going to any one of the two. So what you read one rakat, but we say make it bin, but you just make the show in case it's your second rakat. So that means you make the show after the second rakat as the first rakat. Then you take in one rakat. Then you make the show again after the second rakat, right? Then you make the show after the third rakat. You make the show after the fourth rakat. So that would mean now that you delayed your qiyam after. So you make a tashahud and it covers for that. Are you with me? Now read from there where we read till. Okay, I said, وَمَنْ شَكَّ فِي صَلَاتِهِ. I'm reading from there. I hope everybody find it. وَمَنْ شَكَّ فِي صَلَاتِهِ. That person who has got doubt in salat. فَلَمْ يَدْرِ أَثَلَاثًا صَلَّ أَمْ أَرْبَعًا. He's not sure did he read 3 or 4. وَذَلِكَ أَوَّلُ مَا أَرَضَ لَهُ. This is the first time this happened for him. استأنف. He will start afresh. And I told you, according to the Sharia from Inai, they say, doesn't mean if it happened one time, it's something that happened really, right? لِقَوْلِهِ عَلَيْهِ السَّلَامِ. Because of the statement of the Muslim, إِذَا شَكَّ أَحَدُكُمْ فِي صَلَاتِهِ. When any one of you has doubt in his salat, أَنَّهُ كَمْ صَلَّى عَمَ الشَّرِيرِ فَلْيَسْتَقْبِلِ الصَّلَاةَ التي restart the salah, right? وَإِنْ كَانَ يَعْرِضُ لَهُ كَثِيرًا is like a zarf. If this happens a lot to you, right? بَنَا عَلَى أَكْبَرِ رَأْيِهِ. He will build upon the predominant thought, right? Why? لقوله عليه السلام, because of the statement of Nabi Sallallahu من شك في صلاته. That person who has doubt in salah, فليتحرِ الصواب. Apply your mind. Like how this is another masala this year. When you're not sure which way is the qibla, then your qibla will be your predominant thought, even though it's wrong. When you don't know which way is the qibla, your qibla will be that we discuss this in detail. Your qibla will be the predominant thought, even though it is wrong. So same thing. فليتحرِ الصواب. Now, وإن لم يكن له رأي بناء على اليقين, that I told you, if you got no thought, your mind is not inclining to any one of the two, you are 50-50, بناء على اليقين. So obviously the lesser is the more certain one, so you build upon that. It was a proof that لقوله عليه السلام, because of the statement of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, من شك في صلاته, that person who has doubt in salah, فلم يدري ثلاثا صلى عم أربعا, he's not sure whether it was 3 or 4 he read, بنى على الأقل, he will read 4, right? والاستقبال بالسلام أولى. And then this is now like a link to the previous, where, they say you make salam to break off your salat. They don't just walk away from the salam when you're going to restart your salah. Make a proper salam. Why make a proper salam? If it is that you read 2 rakats, then that will be enough to be registered. Why waste it, right? I tell you that. لأن عرف محللا دون الكلام, because that will be it is known as a muhallil, something that takes you out of salam. دون الكلام. Salam is not the proper, not the mu'tad way. ومجرد النية يلغو. And just to make niyat, like I explained this to you, this is an important masla also, that if you want to go in ihram, you have to say labbaik Allahumma labbaik, and you have to intend to go in ihram. If you just say the labbaik and you don't have intention of ihram, you won't go into ihram. And if you just make niyat without saying the labbaik, so same thing like when you enter into salah, you have to have intention of entering salah, and you say Allahu Akbar. Now we'll say you started your salah. Now we will say you started. But without both, we say you never start your salah. Right? So same thing here. You're saying if you are in salah and you just intend in your mind that I'm coming out of salah, you won't. If you are reading salah, right? And you in your mind say, oh, I'm tired, I'm going to abandon salah, and you make intention, I'm abandoning salah, you are still in salah. You are still in salah. Which is similar to the masala like what we discussed. After you are sajjastaw, you make salam, but Shariat will force you to keep in salah till you don't do your sajjastaw. Yes, when you speak, talk, break wind or break your wudu or something, then you come out of the salah. So same thing, وَمُجَرَّدُ النِّيَةِ يَلْغُو. Right? Just the niyat that I'm out of salah now. Even another masala based on this here, fasting. If you are fasting and you decide, no, man, I'm not going to fast anymore, it's too hot. Or maybe you're doing nothing on the fast. So you decide, hey, it's hot, I'm not going to fast today. Until you don't eat something or you don't drink something, your fast will not be broken, right? Just the niyat. Inshallah, Allah Ta'ala take us to the chapter of fasting, the chapter of Hajj. All those are interesting abwab. Inshallah, hopefully we'll see it soon. Anyway, so mujarrad niyati alahu. Now, they say, وَإِنَّ الْبِنَاءِ عَلَى الْأَقَلِّ يَقْعَدُ فِي كُلِّ مَوْضِعٍ يَتَوَهَّمُ آخِرَ صَلَاتِهِ. So, when you make bina al aqal, I explained this ibarat a bit wrong earlier, but this is the correct explanation. When you make bina al aqal, every rakat, it could potentially be your last rakat you will sit in. I said earlier, every rakat you must say that's wrong. I retract that statement. So every rakat, it could potentially be your last rakat. So what we're saying is, for example, if you are doubting between 1 and 2, right? So you're going to go on the lesser. So you're going to make 1 rakat. So that means that next rakat you're going to read there. Obviously, you're going to sit there because that is your so that is your second rakat. But sorry, if you are doubting between 1 and 2, so after the first rakat you'll also sit there. Let's say if you're reading a 2 rakat because that could potentially be your last rakat. You understand what I'm saying? So in simple words, if you're reading a 4 rakats namaz, then you'll sit both after the third rakat and the fourth rakat. If you're reading a 4 rakats namaz, 3 rakats namaz, so you're going to make bina al-qal, so you're going to read extra rakat, it's 4 rakats. So this means you will sit after the third rakat and the fourth rakat. Are you with me? So in simple words, if you're reading a 2 rakat namaz, and we say you must sit after every rakat that could potentially be your last rakat, that means in the 2 rakat namaz, you sit after the first rakat. In the 3 rakat namaz, you will sit after the what is your second rakat. In your mind, in your mind now, you're making bina al-qal, so you sit there because the second rakat could potentially be your third rakat. You know what I'm saying? And then obviously in a 4 rakat salah, you will sit after the third rakat. In your mind is the third rakat, but it could potentially be the fourth rakat in case you did do it. So you have to sit after the first rakat, you have to sit after the second rakat, you have to sit after the third rakat, because that could potentially be your last rakat. Are you with me? Right. So, كي لا يصير تاركا فرض القعدة والله أعلم. Because if that was potentially your last rakat of your salah, then you did make the shahud after it. You understand what I'm saying? So that's just like you say, emergency measure. Okay, so that brings us to the end of that chapter. May Allah Ta'ala accept it. The next chapter is a very interesting chapter, Babu Salatil Maridi, the chapter of the Salat of a sick person. So you can see from this here that Salat is such an important aspect in the life of a believer that, even if you are sick, you don't leave it out. You do not abandon it. The Shariah makes provision for you whenever you are sick. So if you look at what we discussed thus far, we discussed the normal scenarios, like, the necessary things. Now here we are doing the exception to the rule. Sajda Saw is an exception to the rule because not every day you make a mistake. Then this is also exception to the rule. Not every day you are sick. Sickness comes once in a while, inshallah. So these are the exception to the rules. What are these? These are the exception to the rules. So that's why it's just now coming at the end as we're approaching the end of the chapter. Then you got Salatul Marid, etc., which is coming to the end. So, as I said, in Islam, you don't simply abandon a salah. If you can't stand, you sit. If you can't sit, you lay. If you can't lay, you have to make ishara with your head. And then that is the last point. Okay, read the sabak, inshallah.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إذا عجز المريض عن القيام صلى قائدا يركع من قوله عليه الصلاة والسلام من حسين رضي الله عنه يصلي قائما فإن لم تستطع قائدا فإن لم تستطع على الجنب يومئ إيماء للطاعة.
Right, interesting. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Babu Salat al-Maridi, the chapter of the Salat of the sick person. إذا أجز المريض, you got أجز or أجزة? Nothing. إذا أجز المريض عن القيام صلى قائدا. We know, we discussed this much, those that are with us from the beginning, that qiyam is a rukn. It is one of the integral parts of your salah. If you leave it out without a valid excuse, your salah is not done. But yes, when you are unable to do it. So this is also very important, Yes, we discussed this in the Nafil namaz, even whether you are able or not. If you don't do it, inshallah, salat is still valid, but you won't get the full reward. But yeah, if in a farah salah, whilst you are able to stand and you don't stand because it is a rukn, your salat will not be done. Because it's a rukn, your salat will not be done. So yeah, what we're saying is that you need to be honest with yourself. That can I stand or can I not stand? Is right. So if not just that you are lazy or you're tired, you feel inconvenienced, right? So we speak about genuinely you're unable to stand, your back is sore, or if you experience a great deal of pain, difficulty, or if by standing your back will get worse or something like that, right? So إذا عجز المريض عن القيام, when a sick person, if you stand up, you're going to fall down. You're going to fall down. You're going to say you're getting chakkar, you're getting dizziness, whatever. إذا عجز المريض عن القيام, when the sick person does not have the strength, the bodily strength. I told you, honest, you have to differentiate between just tiredness or laziness or just a little inconvenience. This is where you have to be your own mujtahid. Can I stand, or like I told you, like how for your qibla and for you have to decide the rakats, right? If I really ill. So إذا عجز المريض عن القيام صلى قائدا. He can read sitting. يركع ويسجد. So the important thing is when he's sitting, he still has to make a full ruku and a full sajda. It means he'll bend down for his ruku and sajda will go right down, right? يسجد لقول عليه السلام لإمران بن حسين, because Nabi said to Imran ibn Hussein, صل قائما, read salah standing. فإن لم تستطع فقائدا. If you cannot stand, then read sitting. فإن لم تستطع فعلى الجنب. And if you are unable to stand it on your side, to me ima'an, you will indicate, and you're indicating is with your hand like that, right? وَلِأَنَّ الطَّاعَةَ بِحَسْبِ الطَّاقَةِ, because obedience is in relation to the amount of power you have. You have the power to stand, you must stand. You only have the power to sit, you must sit. You have the power not to make a full ruku sajda, you won't make it. You have the power to lay, you will read, right? So فإن لم تستطع الركوع السجود أو مع إيماء يعني قائدا. So I told you, when we say you sit, the first thing is after not standing, you must sit. Yeah, when we say sit, also it means you must bend down for a ruku and you must go right to the ground for sajda. And the interesting masla, by the way, while it's not in the kitab, if a person is sitting in namaz, reading namaz, and he can make it ruku and a sajda, he can still be the imam for normal, healthy people standing behind him. But when he reaches a point where he can't bend down into sajda, he can't touch the ground, he's just doing with signs, then he cannot be the imam for healthy standing people, right? So, he is unable to make the ruku and the sajda. It means he can't go right down to the ground, but he's just going to lower his head a bit for ruku and lower it a bit more for sajda, right? That's what he's saying. Then, أو مع إيمان, he will indicate with his head قائدا while he is sitting. لأنه وسع مثله, because he is able to do something like it. In other words, you can't do the actual ruku and the sajda, but you are able to do something like it. Right. وَجَعَلَ سُجُودَهُ أَخْفَضْ مِنْ رُكُوئِهِ. He will make his sajda lower than his ruku. Like I told you, bend a little for ruku, and in sajda you bend further. Right? لأنه قائم مقامه فأخذ حكمهما. Why? Because when you are standing, then your sajda is obviously lower than your ruku. When you are healthy, a normal healthy person that is making full ruku and full sajda, then your sajda is lower than your ruku. So same thing here, when you are indicating ima with your head, just bending, then too also your sajda will be lower than your ruku. So what he's saying is, although you are not making a full sajda, but you'll try to resemble the real sajda by going lower. You understood that? وَلَا يَرْفَعُ إِلَى وَجْهِهِ شَيْءٌ يَسْجُدُ لِقَوْلِ السَّلَامِ. So I don't know if you saw this. Some of the old people, this is how they should do. If they used to have they have a chair in front of them, then they make sajda they keep a pillow there, they make sajda on the pillow, or they keep a pillow in front of them, then they make sajda. It's not necessary. It's not. In fact, there's a hadith where, yeah, it's mentioned in the Shara, where Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam went to visit one Sahabi, and he was sitting and he was doing like this. He was making sajda on the. He was making sajda first on the pillow. Nabi threw it away. Then he was making sajda on the stick. Nabi said, no, it's not necessary to do this. you just bend like a little, maybe quarter way for ruku, and then you go further down for sajda, right? بقوله السلام إن قدرت أن تسجد الأرض فاسجد. The statement of Nabi Sallallahu, if you are able to make sajda on the earth, then make it, right? Fasjud. وإلا, if you can't, فأومي برأسك, then indicate with your head. وإن فعل ذلك, and if he done that, ويخفض رأسه, and he lowers his head, أجزأه, it will suffice him. لوجود الإيماء, because indicating what the head is there. وإن وضع ذلك على جبهته لا يجزيه لإدامه, but if he places that upon his forehead, لا يجزيه لإدامه, it will not suffice him, because he is supposed to lower his head. He's not supposed to bring something up to his head. You understand what I'm saying? So that's the important thing. Then وإن لم يستطيع القعود استلقى على ظهره وجعل رجليه القبلة وأومأ بالركوع والسجود بقول السلام يصلي المريض قائما فإن لم يستطع فقائما فإن لم يستطع فعلى قفاه يومي إيمان فإن لم يستطع فالله تعالى حقه بقبول العذر منهم. So now you can't sit. You do, the next thing is here, so saying good, استلقى على ظهري وجعل رجليه إلى القبلة, you put your feet to the qibla. Interesting, people also ask this question, that when the mate has passed away, when a person has passed away, you put him like this also. So people find it difficult to say, how is it your feet face your qibla, etc. But this is the correct way. This is proven from the sunnah. When a person passes away, then you lay him on his back. What is like while you're waiting, like while you're waiting, maybe they're waiting for the burial time. Burial will take place in an hour, half an hour. You let them lay on their back, and their feet must face the qibla, similar to this here. A lot of people ask this question. So, وَجَعَلَ رِجْلَيْهِ إِلَى الْقِبْلَةِ وَأَوْمَأَ بِالرُّكُوعِ, then now you'll do what your head, like, indicate with that. وَأَوْمَأَ بِالرُّكُوعِ وَالسُّجُودِ, like you lower your head for ruku and lower for sajda, right? بقول السلام, because of the statement of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, يصلي المريض قائما, that a sick person, if he's able, he must pray standing if he can. فإن لم يستطع فقائدا, if he can't, then he will sit. فإن لم يستطع فعلى قفاه, if he can't, then he lays on his nape, right? يومي iman, indicating moving the head. فإن لم يستطع, but now if you can't do that much, you can't even move your head. You can't even move your head. Maybe you, Allah Ta'ala protect, maybe you're in a brace or something like that, right? فَاللَّهُ حَقُّ بِقَبُولِ الْعُذْرِ مِنْهُ, then Allah Ta'ala is most worthy for accepting his uzr. So the masla is coming in front. So if you can't even move your head, then if it's 5 and lesser salah, you have to make qadha. But if you are like this for 6 and more salah, then it drops off. But that will come tomorrow or in the next lesson, inshallah. Let's stop there, inshallah. We will continue tomorrow. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi. Subhanakallah.